Hello, I'm Rob.
And I'm Angie.
And together, we are Twinfinity.
We are twin flames in union, sharing our journey through a series of videos. This is now video number, it's 13. I couldn't remember which one it was.
Lucky 13.
13, and it's called The Crash. Doesn't sound really that positive.
Yeah, probably wasn't. But we're going to find out.
I guess so.
As a recap from our last video, Valentine's Day, 1998, had come and gone, and none of what Angie's angels had told her had come true. So Angie was planning on committing suicide. I, just out of some form of intuition, managed to call on the day that she was going to do that, and we had a conversation, and obviously, the suicide did not happen.
Because we're connected, your twin flame can feel you. So even though he had no idea what I was going through because we weren't even speaking, he could obviously feel that something wasn't right, and he just felt like he had to phone me.
I just felt that pull to make a phone call.
Yep.
So Angie also calls and gets a little bit of help for her suicidal tendencies. And we are still in touch off and on because we are doing our videos. Not these videos, but my War and Remembrance and Winds and War videos. Still have the tapes. Yes, tapes.
A whole whack load of them.
Yes, they stacked together. There's like 20 of them.
Now, before you continue, I have to address this because it's really, really funny. Somebody posted on our video, I think just this morning, at least it was this morning that I read, about Amazon, because I had made a comment that I had to order these, and it was a long time. It took months and months for them to show up, and I was saying that Amazon didn't exist back then. Well, I was corrected, and I thank you for the correction. It was quite funny. Apparently Amazon started in 1997, and this person was saying they actually started selling other things than just books in 1998. So who knew I could have ordered these things from Amazon back then? Apparently not me.
Who had computers kicking around just at their readily disposable usage anyway. Usually only workplaces had that.
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, we didn't know.
No, but thank you for the correction. That was very funny. I just read that this morning.
So anyway, we're also still continuing in the recap. We're talking about how Angie and I have still got the pain of separation, and the odd time that we do get together, we still cry together.
Yes.
Before we get started into this video, one thing we want to mention is we're now starting to run into times where other people are having influences on us, and we are changing names just to protect anonymity. It's going to be harder for us to keep track of than you folks, because you'll only have one name. We'll have 2 names for each person, but that's only on our side.
So if you see me stumble while I'm reading my journal, it's because my brain is having to change the name of what I'm reading to what we've changed their names to, just so we can respect these people. Because quite honestly, these people that we're sharing about are still in our lives. We're still connected with, I think, all of these people. Well, most of them. Yeah. So before we get started on today's video and readings, I just really wanted to say thank you. You guys are the sweetest, kindest, most loving people we've ever experienced.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were looking at me funny. I'm like, no. What? We read all the comments that you write us on our videos, whether it's YouTube, our Twinfinity page, in the groups. And oh my God, you guys, I have teared up literally reading your comments. They're so sweet. They're so kind. When Rob comes home, I'm like, look, you have to read this. Look at how nice these people are. So thank you. To be honest, we're just like you. We're normal people. We go to work. We live a normal life. And we had no clue that this was part of our mission. So when we started doing this, we didn't know what we were expecting or what would happen. We just thought, okay, do videos and we'll put them out there. We had no idea it would connect with you so much, and we're so glad that it does. So thank you. It means a lot to us.
Thank you very much for the comments.
Yeah.
We just keep chugging along, doing our thing. We're glad it helps.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So with that said, we're going to get started back into journal reading. So Rob's last recap was about the fact that we were still connecting, we were still talking, we were still, because we lived in the same apartment building, we were still seeing each other often, because now we were watching these War and Remembrance videos. And he was saying we were still crying together at times. This is one of the journal readings that I was going to share of that. I wrote, well, my day with Robert was tough. After writing in here yesterday, I went back to his place. We watched a movie, and then after he asked, honestly, how are you doing? I told him not well, that I cry lots and feel quite unstable. So we talked and cried. Both of us were bawling again. Here we go again. These two lovebirds that can't seem to stay apart but can't seem to be together. It's nice to know that he's hurting too. He keeps saying, you better believe you've been loved. We still talk about marriage down the road if these feelings still persist for both of us. So the love was still there. It was still there, but we just were in such different places in our lives we couldn't manage to find a common ground.
The odd talk about marriage back then, especially after I've broke us up, was very, very stressful. I was all over the place, feeling happy about us for 1 hour and then thinking, what's going on? No, she's down the road. We are just friends now, just watching the odd video. So no, there is no future for us. Back and forth. Really, really hard on the brain.
Yes, and the heart. Very much on the heart.
Okay, the heart too.
Yeah. So this is now April 17th that I'm reading in my journal. And I'm asking my angels a question. So I'm asking my angels lots of questions all the time. So I said, okay, I have a question. I'd like a clear answer that I can understand. In other words, I'm giving them very clear boundaries. Answer my question. No more soon. None of that crap. Just give me the facts. You say I'm supposed to keep my focus on Robert and not on things with my friend Beth. Now, Beth was who I met in my Reiki mastery class, and her and I hit it off instantly. We became instant friends. We had a very neat soul connection like Rob and I had when we first met. And so her and I were almost inseparable by this point. We were seeing each other often. We were talking a lot. We were doing Reiki with each other a lot, practicing. She was also channeling angels, so we just did a ton of stuff together. And I wanted to know about us. I wanted to hear more about our purpose because the angels were telling us we had a mission together as well and we had a purpose. But yet they were constantly telling me I needed to focus my energies on Rob. And I was like, why? Like, he's in the past. Let me move on. So that's I'm just explaining why I was asking the angels this. So I was saying, please explain. How do I keep my focus on Robert? What's the purpose of it? Please answer. So my angel said, we mean that now your energy is aligned with Robert and that things with you and he are changing for the better. Things with Beth will happen later. For now, your priority is with Robert. Beth is in your life right now more as a guide and encourager for you to remain on your path. Later, when things are more stable with you and Robert, is when you and Beth will have more, one page too much, more answers about your purpose together. On Robert is where you need to stay focused. By this we mean with Reiki, with your thinking and being. If you were to know your purpose with Beth right now, you'd move headlong into that and leave Robert and you in the dust. Which, they were right, I would have, because I didn't see any connection with us. Even though they were telling me that we had a purpose, we had a mission, all of these things, I wasn't seeing it. So I was like, whatever.
There was lots of distance.
Yes. Even though we were watching these videos still together, we weren't really snuggling anymore. There was the odd time, but yeah, just wasn't there. So they're saying your energy is where your thoughts are, and where we want your thoughts is to keep your energy on Robert, so as to help him. Things with Beth will happen later. So then I say, well, can we get on with something? I'm so sick of feeling like I have no purpose. Let's get something going already. Right now, I feel like a wasted piece of life. Now, just to explain, I was still not working. I was applying for jobs after jobs after jobs, and I'll explain that more later when we get to that part of the story. But nothing was happening. My angels kept telling me my purpose was Robert. That was where I needed to keep my focus. And so nothing worked for jobs. I was applying for things that weren't even nursing related just to get a job. And still nothing. So again, then just a couple days later, I'm asking, I have a question for anyone who will answer. How come all you say is so much about Robert and I and not about Beth? I'm pretty happy to have her in my life, to be sharing with her, but all of you are so quiet about our relationship. What gives? Now, this is also how I knew I was genuinely channeling angels, because I couldn't get them to say what I wanted to hear. They would only talk about what they wanted me to hear. So clearly it wasn't me giving these answers. So they say, same answer as before, dear one. We are happy you and Beth have connected. You have a purpose together. But again, your focus is on Robert right now. Really? Fine. I could tell I was never really happy with the angels. Looking back, I'm so grateful for them, but at the time, they were just annoying to me. This I was just writing, and I'm sharing this because it's interesting how many people saw what at that point I still sort of saw, but didn't see what Rob and I still saw. So I'm saying one thing I do want to mention is now that Vic dreamt of Robert. Now Vic is the one that I met in the apartment building when I first moved in. She's the one that gave me that angel that was on our Charlie Brown tree as well. So Vic dreamt of Robert and me getting married. I feel grateful to have all these people in my life who are helping me trust and believe. So it's like everybody could see our future. Everybody could see it, even if we couldn't.
We could not.
And sometimes we could, because we were just saying that last time, if these feelings persist, we'll still think about marriage. But
there was no path.
No
path, and all the things that had perceivably driven us apart were still in play.
Yeah. Especially because I still didn't have a job. I'm still channeling angels. Rob's like, oh my God, get it together.
But at the same time, I'm also trying to move on. I still have that other karmic relationship tugging on my shirt sleeve.
Yes. So this is now, what's the date on this one? April 20th. I'm sitting down by the river feeling lonely and purposeless. Things have got to change and happen this week. I don't think I can take any more of this. I feel like crying and probably would if I was not in public. What's happening to me? I'm moody and frustrated. I'm sure looking forward to my time with Beth tomorrow. I need some human encouragement. I feel like this and if I feel like this, I can imagine what Robert feels. His life is really tough right now with work and all. Things have got to change. They just have to. I feel so sad and so frustrated, like there's no end to all of this. No end at all. So not only am I not feeling well, he's also, now I can see the struggle going on in him. So I wrote, I've got to have a purpose in this world. There's got to be a reason for me to be here other than living off the government. I just wish it would present itself now. It's time to get on with things. It's time for things to start happening and moving and changing. I don't know what else to do to entertain myself during the day. How many bike rides and journal readings or writings can I do? I feel like a floundering blob with no purpose. I know differently, but I get lost in the feelings sometimes. It does give me hope, at least, to see how far gone Robert is. It helps me believe, sorry.
Now she's picking on me.
It helps me believe that it won't be much longer until something changes with him. He can't hang on much longer, which is good, because it's hard to be around this guy who is not at all the man I love, nor the man that I see in my visions and meditations. Right now, Rob is cold and hard. I miss the playful, fun, loving Robert, and I'd like him back. I miss the way things were when I first met him, the phone conversations about deep stuff like soul and God and learning of life's lessons. I mean, where did all that come from? We were having total deep conversations. And then our day together, I'll never forget that, remembering all the words that we shared, the feelings. I shared my entire life story with him, and I felt so comfortable and natural. It was so powerful and so spiritual. So I'm just like, what's happened? You know, we had this amazing connection, and now I barely feel like I know the guy, and I don't even enjoy being around him because he's not that happy.
No,
you weren't.
I was lost, too.
Yeah. Well, you were still struggling yourself, both with us and with work. So then I wrote, okay, 5 weeks with no tears, and here I am crying again. 5 weeks, that's impressive. I had actually gone to the doctor weeks ago in the story after I was so suicidal, and had decided I didn't want to be on antidepressants because being a nurse, I know a lot about drugs, and I just didn't want that in my body. So I was taking some natural stuff called St. John's wort, and it was obviously starting to help. 5 weeks with no tears. So I'm writing, though, here I am crying again. It's been a tough day. God, please help me and take away or tell me what my purpose is now. Okay, God, Robert and I have been through lots. Can't it be over yet? Please, please. I keep being told that I'm supposed to keep my focus on Robert. God, does that mean that things will change soon? Like this week soon? Change to the better?
There's that word again.
Yeah, now I'm the one using it, though, and going like, okay, I know soon means something in your world, but let's tell me what soon means in my world, okay? In my language. I keep my focus on Robert, but then it hurts to remember, and it hurts to see the future because I want it now. So I'm struggling with this fact of like feeling purposeless, and they're telling me my purpose is him. My purpose is to send him love, keep my focus on him, remember the love we shared. And I'm saying, but it hurts, guys. Like, I don't want to remember all this. I want to move on with my life, get a job, and move on. No. Focus on Robert. So then I have an angel channeling. I had all sorts of different angels, actually. They all had their own names. Some were groups. And
they seem to have their own colors.
Yes, I had like a package of felt pens in different colors that somebody had given me as a gift. And it was like the perfect gift because the angels, as they would channel through me, they would tell me what color they wanted so I could then distinguish who was who. In fact, I'll just this will show up.
I wonder if it'll show up. There's like orange and there's blue
orange,
and there's yellow.
The blue is me, and then the orange was one angel, and then the yellow is another angel.
Yellow's really hard to read.
It is. Thank goodness it works in this light. So this is the angel group called the Nurturers, they called themselves. So they're saying to me, oh, dear one, we are so excited. Things are happening more than you know. Wow, dear one, he loves you so much, so very much. Just know that he loves you, dear one, and all is well. We are so happy and so proud. We gladly come to you with these messages and healing. Much love to you, dear one, from us and from Robert. He loves you, he loves you, he loves you.
Apparently I loved her.
Apparently. At least they thought so. We are so joyous to tell you that this, dear child, Robert loves you, all is well, the Nurturers. He loves it, and then, okay, I think they're done. It just goes
on and on and on.
More. He loves you, he loves you, he loves you. Just know that Robert loves you, our beautiful angel child of God. Robert loves you. Love, love, love. And then they put a bunch of exclamation marks with hearts on them. Funny. So then I'm writing 15 times he loves you. Wow, interesting. So I don't even know what to make of this. Okay, so he loves me. What's that got to do with anything? What? That doesn't show in our relationship. It doesn't show in our connection. Why do I care? Apparently you still love me.
Yeah.
So now I'm asking another group of angels. I could actually feel them. Like, it's hard to explain. There was like a pressure in me that I could feel when they wanted to talk. And sometimes I was like, no, I don't want to channel you. And other times I would let them. So this time I'm saying you guys have something to say because I could feel that pressure in them or in me. So this angel says, hi, dear one. It is I, Gail. Gail, another angel. Just like saying hi since we haven't talked much. You are doing well and all is going well. All is well, dear one. All is well. Things with Robert are really happening. Really, really happening. You'll understand in time. You'll understand. Your paths are merging very quickly, very close together. Merge. Remember the word merge. Did that make any sense to me back then? No. Does it make sense now? Completely.
A lot more.
Totally. So it's fascinating reading all of this because they were right. But again, their time, they don't have time. Everything happens in the now. So everything that has happened to us, the merging, the connecting, the getting married, they could all see that back then.
We just had to play it through, I guess, would be how they might word it.
Yeah.
We were just experiencing stuff that we had no idea why.
Yeah. So the encouragement was nice, but it felt meaningless. It just, I mean, when they said, you know, your paths are merging, I'm thinking, okay, great, within the next couple months. No. Next couple, many years? Not even a couple years? Yeah. But what's a few years to angels? Nothing. Okay, so we're ready. We're ready. Now, all of what I've been reading is going to start making sense now as to what's going to happen next. This is April 30th of 1998. It was a Thursday. And I wrote in my journal at 11 in the morning. Rob called saying he no longer works at his job. And my angels keep telling me to just love him, just love him, just love him. Remember love. It's the source of all the healing. This is the why of your mission. Just love him. Let your love flow to him. So now they're going on and on and on about, okay, first it was he loves you, and now it's my turn that I'm supposed to just love him. So now we're going to finally let Rob talk and tell you what happened.
Well, I thought that I no longer had a job. I went to work that day. I was stressed out. Angie was very strongly on my mind. Work stress was there, but I'd been doing that job for 3 years. I thought I understood that stress, and I probably did understand that stress. The relationship stress between Angie and I got to me on that day, April 30th, 1998. I was working as an automotive parts manager in a dealership. I was looking up parts. I was looking up a very simple part. I was looking up a muffler. And I was in front of my parts catalog, and all of a sudden, I could not remember what to do with the parts catalog. I was just stuck. I was staring at the part numbers. I was staring at the book. I had a computer beside me, but I didn't know how to make it work anymore. And I panicked. I thought I'd blown a brain cell. I just went back to my office. I grabbed my jacket and I said, I gotta go. And I just walked out of work. I was shaking. I was trembling. My whole world was crashing around me. I could not function anymore. I had reached 100% emotional exhaustion. I was having a really deep, very strong anxiety attack, but I didn't know that then. I thought that I was having a full-blown nervous breakdown. I walked away from work. I didn't have my vehicle keys. I was driving a demo at work, and I didn't take those keys with me. I took my keys to my apartment. But
at least you remember that.
Yeah. I started to walk home. Now, it'd be a 2-hour walk home for me. I got to a park. It was more like an undeveloped park. It was just up on a hill that overlooked downtown. And I sat down on that hill, and I just started to cry. I was scared. I was lost. I thought I'd lost my mind completely. I didn't know what to think. I was thinking of Angie. I was thinking of my karmic relationship and the thought that I can't have both. I wanted Angie. I wanted away from Angie. I didn't know what I wanted. I was so lost and so confused that I was just done. I could no longer function more than just walking. So I continued my walk home. I made it up to my apartment. I was dazed. I was lost. I was confused. And I was sure that I was going to get fired for having just walked away from work. I was done. I was starting to think maybe work had got to me, because it couldn't be the rest of that stuff. I was way too strong of a person to let something like a little bit of relationship stuff get in the way. I was starting to look for excuses as to why I was failing. So because I failed at work, it must be all work stuff. Maybe I don't want that job anymore. I was just flailing. I didn't have a clue. I was lost. And I was very sure that one of the first things I did was called Angie and asked her to come up and talk to me. But I really, honestly don't remember a lot more of that day. I was really, really shutting down. The panic inside of me blurred all reality. All I know is that I couldn't think.
And you did call me, because that's what's in my journal. Yeah, you called me. What did I say? It was 11 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
You called and said, you don't work at your job anymore.
Done. I blew that up.
Yeah.
That's all finished.
Yeah.
My life is now in total chaos.
Yeah.
Here I am, being the one that was doing some doing the chasing. I was trying to keep up to my little runner here, and then I pushed her away, and life was supposed to be all so good, but I broke down. This love, the thoughts, the feelings, it still does really, really, really work on a person. Love doesn't let you go, especially a deep
this
love.
love. Yeah. So the next thing I picked to read in my journal is just a couple days after his crash. So his crash was Thursday, April 30th, and now I'm writing Saturday, May 2nd. And I wrote, nothing has changed with Rob. He's still his workaholic self and not ready to accept that he needs to be out of his job. He plans to go back to work on Monday. Whatever. This is all so stupid. I was up at Rob's place last night and I ended up getting cranky, more frustrated. My learning out of all of this is hard. It's being an allower is not easy. I want to drag his ass out of that job so bad, but I know my job is to just be there as a listener only and not give advice. So I was thinking it was all his job. Because, of course, he'd been stressed with his job since
I took it years ago.
Well, yeah, but it really got bad.
I'd ran into problems. A few of the more experienced people had quit. I had an all-rookie crew, and it was hard to keep them all steered in one direction. It was very, very tough. I knew that over time they would all get better and learn it more, but for now, I had a bunch of people that didn't have a proper clue.
And as a manager, it was all on you.
Yep.
So I'm thinking it's all job-related, not knowing that part of his crash is us.
More of our crash than anything to do with work is us.
Yeah. So I'm all frustrated thinking, like, guy, get it together. Go find a different job. And, of course, I'm, like, in the world of angels where I'm thinking everything's simple. Just go get another job. Who am I to talk? I don't even friggin' have a job. I hadn't had one for many months. So what did I know? So now I'm still writing. This is May 2nd. I said, Rob and I are going to the airport to watch planes. Do you want to put a card?
There's a plane right there. I like planes.
We did not actually strategize to be here in our house with that little plane sitting there, but when we were just sitting here, we like, oh, there's a plane. I thought, hey, that's funny.
We're going to talk about planes.
Yeah, Rob loves airplanes. I love angels. We have angels and airplanes in our house.
Everything flies.
That's a good point. We're the flying house. So I was saying we went to the airport to watch planes because that's something Rob loved to do, and it was something that really
I needed
heal.
Stress relief. I needed to just do something familiar.
Yeah. So I said I had a nice day with him. Awkward because I haven't spent much time with him over 2 months because all we were doing was watching these
Movies.
videos. Yeah, but we weren't really talking or connecting. So I said I felt nervous and distant for a lot of it. I also felt about a bazillion miles away from him. I feel like I barely know the man. We've both been through so much and changed so much. I don't even see how our paths are merging. Here we go. All the stuff the angels are saying. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever, angels. I just don't see it. Faith, yeah, whatever. Anyhow, it was kind of nice to be with Rob, but I had lots of barriers up and kept my distance. I could see him wanting to get close, but I'm just not there. My heart is still so tender, and the pain of our breakup is still too fresh. So I'm still doing a bit of the runner thing, still keeping closed. As much as I want to get back together with him, I'm still leery and cautious, especially since nothing has changed. I can't be romantically involved until he opens up spiritually, at least a bit. I find it so hard to relate to him. I'm thinking about God and he's thinking about work. I feel like we're completely on different paths. I wish I saw this merging stuff that I hear so much about.
I think we were on completely different paths at that time. Merge was nowhere in my mind, but then again, this was only 2 days after my crash. I had nothing on my mind, really.
Yeah, your mind was...
Breathing, driving to an airport. That's about it. Communicating with someone that I trusted. At least I still had the ability to trust.
Yes. And I was grateful that you trusted me. So then I said, I almost don't know what to say with him. I don't know. It still feels pretty hopeless to me. I just wish I understood. I did have a bit of fun with him today, though. We went and watched airplanes and then went to Dairy Queen for a blizzard. Oh, yes, our past. Rob loves his blizzards.
Still do.
Yeah. Then we went to Bear's Paw for a walk and then a drive to look at big houses. Sounds almost like a date, doesn't it? My poor heart. Why do I get involved with these men? I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just so afraid to hurt anymore. It seems that every time I open up and let my guard down or let someone in, I get hurt. And I can't do it anymore. I don't want to feel any more pain. I'm sick of being tested and having to get learning out of every friggin' thing that I do. I edited that.
Bleep.
Yeah, that was a bleep moment. I'm so moody, so up and so down all the time. That's what happens when I feel completely out of control with my entire life. Job-wise, money-wise, relationship-wise, purpose-wise. I feel like a puppet who is being controlled from up above, and I have no say. I chose to read that because I know a lot of you feel that way. Welcome to the twin flame path. We surrendered a lot of our free will because our soul is in control on this journey, and boy was I feeling that. I was so annoyed with not having free will.
My soul had just allowed me to fall into a mix master, so I wasn't feeling very good about this at all either. I was not anywhere near spiritual. I was just trying to figure out how to survive in 3D. So if I had a spiritual bone in my body, at that point, I had shut it right off.
Yeah, you were in survival mode.
My goal was to get back to work and get back on that horse and figure out how to look up a muffler again. Continue on with my life. I needed to. I needed my career.
Yeah. So, what's next? What tragedy happens next? This is now May 7th. I said, okay, I have hope today. Oh, not a tragedy. We have hope.
Hope?
Hope. Rob called at noon when I was just on my way out to the library. This is me with all my books. So I'm like, well, God, if I got nothing to do for a job, then I might as well read. So I'm going to the library all the time getting new spiritual books. I said, he's home from work again today. Wow.
Okay, right after this crash, I couldn't just go back to work. I would go back to work for a couple hours or 3 hours or 4 hours in the morning, and then I would be all shaky, and I couldn't get through a day. I couldn't even barely get through a half a day.
Yeah.
So I would go to work, do what I could, and then I would leave again so that I could calm down again. That's how in bad a shape I was. It wasn't just a one-day event. I was now I was a week down the road and still barely able to get through a morning.
Yeah. And what I find so amazing is, of course, reading these journals back now, everything makes so much sense. They were telling me to keep my focus on him. They were telling me to send him love and do Reiki on him constantly.
Apparently I needed love and nurturing and the attention and the healing from all this help.
Yeah, he was in really rough shape. So my angels were guiding me, saying, yes, he is your mission right now. A job is not where your focus is. And I didn't understand it back then. Now it makes a lot of sense.
I appreciated the help, but I still, the corner of me wanted her to go out and get a job too, but I could barely think of that.
The corner of me wanted that too.
I was very self-absorbed, very self-focused.
Yeah. So I said, he's home from work again. So I ran my errands and then went up to his place at 2 p.m. and only left at 6:30. I'm still waiting for the call to the hospital. He's not doing well physically. We had fun, though, watched more War and Remembrance, and then played backgammon and goofed off a bit. So that I could see, it was obvious to me that he was not well.
I was so on the edge of 100% collapse.
Yep. So that same night, I wrote a bit more. I said, I feel drained and tired. Been sending Rob energy again. Sonia called this AM, being her psychic self, worried about Rob. Now, do you want to tell them a bit about her?
Yeah, Sonia was one of my employees, and of course Angie had met my crew at work, and so Sonia and Angie hit it off. Sonia is another very spiritual person, very gifted person. Yeah. I tend to find people like that, and even if they don't make any sense for the job, I'd go, I recognize something in you, so okay, I'll hire you and we'll just teach you stuff that we do, and we'll see how this all turns out. So anyway, Sonia and Angie were in communication.
Yes. And I don't think at that point she was even working with you anymore.
Yeah, she might have been done by then.
Yeah.
Can't honestly remember.
Yeah, I think somewhere in my reading I remembered that had transpired. But what's neat about her is she's incredibly psychic, gifted. She's still a friend right now.
Very intuitive.
Very.
Just knows stuff.
Yes. The day or the when Rob and I first met, he was just leaving work for 2 weeks of holidays, if you remember our story from way back at the beginning. She actually told him when he was leaving work that he was going to meet somebody named Angie. She told me this at Christmas, at the Christmas party that we had before Rob and I broke up. So very intuitive, amazing person. So anyway, I said she called this AM, being her psychic self, worried about Robert. So she's not even working with him anymore, yet she knows that things aren't right.
Something wrong.
She's concerned with his physical health and wants him to go see a doctor as much as I do. Well, we got our wish. Rob called from work at about 2 p.m. and left a message saying he got an appointment for tomorrow at 2. Good. Sonia was also mentioning that she feels Robert's getting energy from her and that she wakes up at the nighttime with him on her mind. She's feeling the same energy that I'm feeling from him.
It's nice to know that I have so much influence on these people that I'd land up in all sorts of different people's dreams.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know.
So do you want to share why you were going to the doctor?
I still was not getting anywhere with any form of recovery. I felt I needed professional help, somebody from the doctor community. So I went and saw the doctor, and the doctor prescribed me some antidepressants. I will talk about them later, probably on the next video or maybe even the video after. They did their job, but they certainly are not my most favorite thing in the world to ever take. I agreed with Angie when this was all done that neither one of us liked having those things in our body.
Yeah. And so what's interesting is we're both, in our own shape and way, on antidepressants at this point in our life back in 1998.
This relationship has crashed us both.
So deep. Yep. So this is now, what day is this? May 11th. I said I got home at 6 p.m. and Rob had left a message asking if I wanted to see the next War and Remembrance video.
There's so many of them.
Yes, there are. In fact, we just watched them last winter, and it took us literally all
40
winter,
hours.
Yes, of watching one a week.
Yep.
It was
2 hours
long.
here, 1 hour there, 3 hours there. Oh.
Yeah. But we hadn't done it since we first met, so that's why we thought we have to rewatch these.
We'll wait another half a decade or a decade before doing that again.
They're awesome, but yeah, they're long. So I said I prayed and protected myself, then went up. So my angels had started teaching me that I needed to shield my energy. I needed to use my Reiki skills and shield my energy before I went up to see him, because he was in such a dark place that I would come home absorbing his energy instead of giving him mine and helping him with healing, loving energy.
She wasn't able to really give me all that much light, although she was trying. But she had to protect herself from taking away my dark energy. Yes,
because I'd go home and think, what is wrong with me? Why do I feel so crappy? And my angels were teaching me, because I was absorbing his energy, that it was my purpose to help him, not to have him drag me further down.
I never thought I'd get to a place where I felt crappier than she was feeling.
No kidding. No kidding.
I got there in spades.
Yep, you were rough. So I said after I shielded and protected myself, I Reiki'd him and then sent love during the day. Now he's getting lots. So I was just pouring the love into him when we were together, when we were not. I'm seeing a tremendous amount of changes in him. He didn't even go to badminton tonight. That's surprising, because Rob's used to be a total exercise junkie. Total.
I couldn't even do that anymore.
No.
I don't know whether that was me just losing all interest in everything that I had, and trying to give all my energy back to getting myself back on my feet, or whether that was the start of the antidepressants just kicking in, causing me to think, exercise, whatever.
Good point.
Sit back, relax, just be crashed.
So that's surprising that he didn't even go to badminton. And things yesterday in the mountains were different. So we had gone to the mountains the day before. He was much more mellow, very impressive for Rob. So he was actually learning to play and have fun again. I was starting to see a little bit of the old Rob that I actually met. He was no longer the intense drill sergeant that was kind of cold and hard. He was like starting to have a little bit of fun and light in him again. So that's why I was saying it was a bit hopeful.
I wasn't feeling very hopeful.
No.
I was feeling very helpless.
Yeah, it was rough. So that's the end of our story this time. Next time, we would advise you to have some Kleenex because I don't know if we can get through it without crying. So we might make you cry because it's pretty rough.
She's read ahead more than I have.
But he knows what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get teary just thinking about it because it's rough. Yeah, so we won't go there yet, but just know the next one's karmic partner, Rob, me, not pretty.
Okay, so on that note, I'd like to wish you goodbye.
Yes, and remember, as always, to connect with your twin, go within, and we'll catch you not soon, next week.
She just about did it again.
I did. Next week. Bye.
Bye.